Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Eating at a Meeting. And Tracy Stuckrath, your host. And for this week's episode, I'm not interviewing anyone. I actually want to bring back and talk to you or share with you the 40 plus women that I have recognized as for Women's History Month for the last 4 years. So I started this in 2020. Before COVID was official, I interviewed 10 women for my blog, and just for Women's History Month. I call it HERStory Month. And so I started that in March of 2020. And every year since then, I have interviewed 10 women or more, because some of them are pairs or a group of women for Women's History Month. And so I don't want to forget the women that I've honored in the past. So I'm going to use today's episode to remind you of who those women are and what work that they're doing, and to help make our world safer, sustainable, and more inclusive. So I am going to pull my little list up over here, and I'm going to try to talk about each one of them, so that we have a good basis for who they are. And then I will tag them all in the comments with the links to their previous stories and interviews, so that you can go back to watch them. Now let me get my list here. Okay, so I'm going to start from the very beginning. So back in 2020, and again, this was before I did interview them, but not on video. So these were audio interviews with these women, and they're my heroes, my icons. Some of them in the hospitality, some of them are lawyers. So the first one her name is Tina Pina, and she actually runs a company called Renewable. And she is taking food waste and turning it into energy. And really, really great interview with her. I'm looking it up, reading directly from her website right now, just to make sure I say this right, is a research-driven social enterprise dedicated to building environmental sustainable solutions for the agriculture industry. And so they are closing the loop on food and reclaiming food waste to then use it in other projects. Pushing the agriculture industry to become more responsibly sustainable, and eliminating landfill waste and greenhouse gases. And so she was a really good interview and a lot of fun to talk with, and her work is tremendous. So I will put the link to her. I'm probably going to do that all at the end here, but her name is Tina Pina. And my podcast post about her was making fertilizer out of food waste. And so we can really look at how that's done and why we should be doing it, especially with the food waste that we have from meetings and events. So if you have an opportunity to do that, reach out to her. Okay, the next one up is Leanne Mandelbaum, and she is the No Nut Traveler. And she has been fighting for safe peanut-free flying, or safe flying for people with peanut allergies. She started about the same time I did, about 2009, 10, in advocating for this. And she has spoken on Capitol Hill. She has spoken to the FAA. She's actually made a lot of laws happen. The FAA's accessibility regulation now includes food allergies as a disability need, so that people with food allergies and peanut allergies, etc., can actually board the plane early to wipe down their seats, because it is now seen as a disability. And so follow Leanne at No Nut Traveler on social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. She is a force to be reckoned with, and I'm glad to call her my friend. The other one who fights side by side with Leanne on a lot of different cases is Mary Vargas. And she is an attorney who fights for disability rights. And a couple of the different cases that she's done includes the Williamsburg case in Virginia, where the young boy went on a field trip and was denied the ability to eat his own food on this field trip, and really made some great legislation and movement forward in winning some cases, winning that case after appeal. But really fighting for the advocacy and the rights of people with food allergies and other disabilities so they have access into our events, into spaces, camps, etc. So if you follow her, it's Stein Vargas is the name of her law firm, and her name is Mary Vargas. You can find her on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. So follow her. Ruchi Gupta is another food allergy advocate that I adore. She is actually with the Feinstein School of Medicine up in Chicago, and I'm going to CFAR, which is the Center for Food Allergy. Make sure I get it. Home is the Center for Food Allergy and Asthma Research at the Feinberg School of Medicine at Northwestern University. And she and her team of food allergy or researchers and doctors are finding ways to help people with food allergies, whether it's finding advances in medicine that help them, combat or minimize the risks of their food allergies. She's also been instrumental in finding a lot of data around food allergies. The research that she and her team have done at CFAR actually helped solidify sesame as the 9th top allergen regulated by the US government back in 2021. So the research that she's done on food allergies to name and actually double the statistics on how many people in the US have food allergies. That study came out in 2019. And because the number before that was 15 million, and it's now known that it's 32 million people have food allergies. And it's the research that she and her team did at CFAR that really helped push forward a lot more legislation and knowledge about food allergies so that more doctors are aware of what's going on and the prevalence of food allergies in our market. So you can check their website out at CFAR. I'll go ahead and put that in there because I looked it up. She is also on Twitter and Instagram and CFAR as well. You can find them on all the social media platforms as well. But there's their website address if you want to find more information about their research. The next one is Emily Brown. Emily, when I interviewed her, had started a company called, oh my gosh, I just forgot the name of it. Let me pull it up. But she had, let's see, she was Food Equality Initiative, Food Equality Initiative out of Kansas City. And she was a mom who was on utilizing WIC, and her daughters had food allergies. And the food that she could get at the pantry did not meet her girls' needs. So she started a food pantry called the Food Equality Initiative that actually catered to specifically to people who had food allergies and celiac disease. And so all the products in that marketplace, they were covered. They could find items that they needed that were safe for her kids as well as these other people's kids. And so she has gone on now and left Food Equality Initiative in a very good position, and it is still doing the work that it was doing to start another company, and that's a whole nother thing. But she is really fighting for, continues to fight for equality in people's health with the food that we're eating, and making sure that the medical, I'm finding the new name of her company, fighting for making sure that we to provide everyone affordable, inclusive access to the right of foods and resources they need to improve their health. So it's not just food allergies and celiac disease anymore, but it's a wide variety of different diseases that rely on specific types of food to make sure that we're healthy, that making sure that we have access to those to get the food that we need based on our life, the different chronic conditions that we have. Her name is Emily Brown, and the new company that she started is called Attain Health, ATTANE. I'm going to put her LinkedIn profile in here. She's Attain Health is growing like leaps and bounds and making a lot of really good efforts to making sure that we have inclusive access to the right foods and resources that we need. So follow Emily on social media. Nina Curtis has been a guest multiple times on the show, and she is a Whole Foods plant-based chef out of California, and she is rocking it. She actually created and presented the first vegan meal I think it was a state dinner at the White House just this past year. She worked with the White House chefs to do that, and she is just rocking and rolling as a vegan whole food plant-based chef, and just making strides and really helping educate other chefs on how to make plant-based meals that are delicious and healthy and sustainable. And she's a force to be reckoned with. So Nina Curtis, and let's see if I can get you. I'm going to find her on my website and send you to that one there. She is a lot of fun to chat with and just so authentic in what she is doing to forge plant-based path to wellness. So this is the link I'm going to provide you is the first interview that I did with her. And let's put that link over here. But you need on social media, you can find Nina at, let's see, Instagram. Oh, I don't want to switch that tab. Let's see, Nina Curtis. She is Botanical Chef on Instagram and on other social media platforms. So make sure you're following her. Okay. I guess I haven't been live on Instagram yet. So make sure you're following Nina on that. Really good. Amelia Eckes. She is a when I first interviewed her, she was a general manager of a on-site dining facility for a corporate organization, so on campus dining. And the work that she was doing inside that corporate dining facility was remarkable to me. She grew up with a sister who has multiple food allergies, so she understood food allergies. And when working in this corporate dining arena, she also knew she wanted to make sure that everybody who worked in that company could come into the company cafeteria and eat. And so some of the initiatives that she instituted in that corporate dining facility, or one that she made sure that all of her catering team, the culinary team, understood food allergies, the top 9 and more. They surveyed the employees to find out what allergies that they had, so that they can make sure that those were noted on any meals or any menu items that were placed in the corporate dining facility for employees to choose from. And this is really important right now because it's the middle of Ramadan, or the beginning of Ramadan, is that she also worked with the suppliers to make sure that they were using halal certified meats in everything that they were doing. So the individuals who were Muslim and followed halal, they could eat in the company cafeteria with ease. So a few different steps that Amelia took to make sure that the dining facility in the corporate cafeteria was accessible and made everybody feel included in that dining experience. So she is, let's see if I find her, and I'm going to have to give you back all those. Amelia Eckers, she is now, she's the director of workplace innovation at ISS, which does provide food on-campus dining. They do provide camp dining for different venues, conference centers, in-house or corporate dining, etc. So check her out. And and before that, it was with Guckenheimer when she was doing that work. And she was actually deemed the lunch lady by the company. So a lot of fun. She's very, very knowledgeable and very attuned to how to manage and be sustainable. She loves beans. Listen to that. She really wants to make sure that people are eating more sustainably across the company cafeterias, etc. as well. So check her out. And again, I'm going to post the links to all of the interviews that I did with them over the years, but check her out. Amy Francais, she and her husband owned Belly of the Beast. And actually I was introduced to her from Amelia's sister, Sally. She and her husband, the Belly of the Beast was a restaurant in Massachusetts that used the whole animal to make any of the products that they butchered the animals in-house. They sourced them locally. They made everything in their kitchen was allergen friendly, and noted allergens on a variety of different things. They trained their staff to know what they were cooking in and out, and could do provide a safe experience for everybody that was eating there. And they have since closed the restaurant, but they're still continuing to do work in creating and sourcing sustainable food. So Amy Francis. Stephanie Norton, she was the founder of W. Dixon Farm, and this farm was growing, what do you call it? Norton, heirloom vegetables, because she found out based on her own medical experiences that she could only eat heirloom varieties of corn and other vegetables. And so to help her be healthy, she actually started growing these heirloom vegetables on their farm, and then creating farm boxes, CSA boxes, for people with different medical needs, that they can buy those vegetables from there and help them become healthier and with a non-pesticide covered crops, etc. So I met her through Slow Food, and she is working with them on the Arc of Taste, which is a catalog of endangered heritage foods, and ensuring that these endangered heirloom plants and animals live on today and into the future. So she was a really, really good interview as well. And the last one from 2020, this is back in 2020, was Hillel Echo Hawk. And she is an Indigenous chef that was getting back to her roots and educating people on pre-colonial food and beverage, and how you could incorporate pre-colonial crops and different foods into the cuisine that you're serving. She has a catering company and Indigenous-based food private chef and a catering company. And it's really interesting. And if you've listened to my interviews about the Indigenous marketplace and Sean Sherman, it's really eye-opening. So pre-colonial food does not include gluten. It does not include pork. It does not include beef. It does not include sugar. And so it's very unique and different, but it's so tasty and so good, and really using farm fresh ingredients to make the dishes that they're serving in their restaurants and in the catering marketplace. Okay. So that was 2020. And those are the 10 original women that I interviewed for Women's History Month. And then when I went to 2021 is when I started live interviews like this and interviewed another 10 women that really like stole my heart as well. So Carolyn McCann, I met her through Slow Food, and when I met her, she was a butcher in South Africa. And she has since left, sold the butcher shop, and is now providing through Slow Food and through consulting practice. She is giving the title of my podcast episode with her is Giving Others the Basic Skills to Grow. And so she is passionate about sustainable, ethically produced food and assisting communities around South Africa to develop local economies using the principles of slow food, which is good, clean, and fair, while promoting diversity. So I'm going to give you her link. She is a doll. I actually went to visit her in South Africa, and got to visit the butcher, her butchery before she sold it, and watched her run a competition of how to butcher animals and use them in your products, and et cetera. But she's doing a lot of consulting work now on how to help farmers go back to regenerative agriculture and not utilizing any pesticides and other things to raise their animals. So a really good consultant in Africa, and globally on how to do that work. So follow her as well. The next person I interviewed was Trisha Thompson. And if you have celiac disease, you probably know her. She is the gluten-free watchdog. And Trisha, oh my gosh, the work that she does to help people with celiac disease and non-celiac gluten sensitivity is amazing. In what she does is she finds products and she tests the products to make sure that the products are true to their word in their gluten, the amount of gluten they have in them or they don't have them. And so she's the watchdog for gluten-free standards. So if you do have celiac disease or non-celiac gluten sensitivity, or know someone who does, I would 100% follow her on Twitter. And I don't think she's on any other social media. Let's see. She's on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. And she posts daily with updates around a variety of things on gluten-free. And yesterday she posted something on food shaming, and wants us to stop food shaming people for the reasons that we have to eat a specific way. So really pay attention to her if you want to know the ins and outs of celiac disease, and what foods are good and not good for you to eat. Lori Weissman, who I met through, I met her through Betsy Craig of Menu Trinfo. But Lori is the CEO of Moulet's Sausage. And Moulet's Sausage is a sausage that has gone through certification to be 100% allergen free. So none of their products contain any of the top 9 allergens. And so she really, the purpose of me interviewing her was really about the importance of certifying and making sure that we have free from allergen foods options out there for people, and that they have they can trust those third-party certifications. And that's a really important thing to think about when you're looking at food and beverage products that you're purchasing, is like, who is certifying them? Are they self-certifying, or are they using an outside company to certify that their products are free from gluten or sesame or whatever the allergen is, or any ingredient? Who's certifying that foods are vegan, right? But Moulet sausage, oh my gosh, it's so delicious. A wide variety. You can order it online and it ships directly to your house. And she's got, she was really interesting to chat with. So there's Mona, or no, that's Lori. Okay, the next one is Mona Esposito, and she is the grain lady. And this and I do advocate for food allergens and celiac disease, et cetera, but Mona, her aspect is it's actually wheat and it's different grains that actually have gluten in them. But she is educating us on how on the original varieties of grains and what we need to get back to producing the grains that we used to grow way back when. I'm like, we've consolidated them down and we're only growing a certain types of grains, a certain number of grains. And so she wants to get back to the original grains that we grew a long time ago. So and so she is very fun. She actually moved to Italy, I think the beginning of this year or the end of the last year, and so that she can go and learn about the grains in Italy and see, the all natural aspects of that. So I just posted a link to her, and if they're not showing up on LinkedIn, I will post them onto LinkedIn if you're watching me from there. They're showing up on YouTube and Facebook as I see. And anybody, if you have questions about any of these people, please ask me. I'm happy to introduce you to them. I'm happy to share more links about them, but please let me know. But she is an activist. Mona is an activist and an advocate for restoring heritage grains to Colorado. But as I said, she is now in Italy. And let's see, the grain lady. If I can find her. Oh, nope. I'm going to find her up this way. Mona Esposito. Yeah, Mona the Grain Lady is her Instagram handle. And so she posts a lot of great information about different kinds of grains and growing, etc. Okay, so check out Mona. The next people I interviewed in 2021 is Erin Kroom and Asada Reed, and they are with the Small Bites Club. And Asada is a trained chef and does a lot of work for Blue Cross Blue Shield and health education. And Erin, they're both members of Les Dames des Escoffiers in Atlanta, well, internationally, but the Atlanta chapter. And the Small Bites Club is an online food education on food, and it's just for your kids. And each month, I think it may be weekly, but it may be a month, but it's engaging kids in eating fruits and vegetables in small bites. And so it's educating them on how to do that and what kinds of fruits and vegetables there are out there. They're gaining a lot of momentum in what they're doing. They've got kids cooking in the kitchen. It's a lot of fun, and they want to make sure that kids understand what is a cucumber, what is a tomato, what is a red pepper, etc. And so through the Small Bites Club, they're teaching them how to cook. They're teaching them about the food and beverage, or the food that they can grow, teaching them, to grow it in their own gardens if they can. So Erin and Asada do that in Georgia. But there's the kits, the box of food and the education can be shipped to you anywhere in the country. And they're also working with farmers in different areas to make sure that food is coming from your region, et cetera, too. So check them out. Dusky Estes is from Farm to Pantry, and she is in California, and she is a chef turned chef in farm to table restaurant in Sonoma to running a food pantry. And she is talking about I just thought I had the wrong picture up there. Sorry. Running Farm to Pantry, taking her dedication to sourcing food ethically and advocating for small farmers, to fighting food insecurity by distributing nutrient-rich foods to those in need. She is a blast to talk to. The program is phenomenal, and it's really working with the farmers and the producers and the restaurants in Sonoma Valley to help make sure that the food insecure are getting food that they need removing the food from going to the not to the food bank, to the landfill. So her work is really important in managing food waste as well as ensuring that people have food on their tables, on their plates to eat. So check out Dusky there. Keitra Bates is Atlanta, and she started a food incubator um, in Atlanta to help food producers, new food producers, achieve financial independence with the food that they're making. So she created this um, like group kitchen where they can all grow, help work on their products, grow their products, and help them understand the financial aspects of their products and what that whole marketplace is. And so with that, she was helping a lot of small producers grow their businesses and gain the financial success that they have. She's um, the company that she has, it's called Marty's, Marddys, and she is the place was in my old hometown, or on my own section of Atlanta, in Southwest Atlanta. So it's really working to help people of color, women, and other marginalized populations in a licensed facility, because a lot of those facilities that you want to rent were too expensive to start your product. And so she was trying to do it on a low cost basis for people so that they could get their products on the market. So she is really fun to chat with as well. Wow, I've got in 2021, I had a lot of my friends or women from Atlanta in this thing. Tanya Guerreri, she's actually was, when I met her, she was from Atlanta. She lived in Atlanta, but now she is in Savannah, or Charleston, South Carolina, and she has her own company and doing a lot of oops, that's the wrong story. Doing a lot of work sourcing locally, buying products. Savannah or Charleston is on the water, so they have the ability to buy direct from the fishermen that are working in Charleston, as well as sourcing good vegetables and fruits from local farmers. And the company is called Salt House Catering in Charleston, and she wants to make sure that she's not compromising the quality of the food that she's serving. So that's why she's sourcing from people that she has relationships with, and making sure that what she's serving meets her quality standards, as well as the standards that her clientele want as well. She is a force to be reckoned with in catering. And oh my gosh, I've known her, let's see, 1996. So a very long time, almost 30 years. So really smart woman, great catering, great food. So check them out in Charleston. Tanya Guerreri is her name. Christina Stanley is the ninth person woman I interviewed in 2021. And she is another Indigenous chef with a catering company. And she was, again, sharing the tribal history through food. And I just find it fascinating, the ingredients they use and the ingredients they don't use in cooking. And I really think that's important for us to pay attention to, and understanding who our attendees are, but understanding how we can go back to some less overly processed foods that we're serving our event attendees. So Christina is, and she's also, besides doing the traditional foods, she is plant-based company, and Abasso Foods is her company, and she is in a leadership role at the I Collective, which is a Indigenous inspired, innovative, and independent consulting company that helps other catering companies or other food businesses really understand the indigenous community, indigenous foods and beverages, so that you can go back to our roots. So check Christina out. I just put you? No. Yep, I just put her um, episode on the chat there. And again, these are showing up on Instagram, or not Instagram, they're showing up on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're not seeing them on other places, I will start posting them. Instagram doesn't allow me really to post links that work. So I will figure out a way to do that for you. And then I will make sure that I get them on LinkedIn as well, because I have to post them separately. I'm not sure why they don't let me post directly to LinkedIn, but I will get those to you as well. And the last person for 2021 that I interviewed was Tiffany Barrier. Oh my gosh. Tiffany Barrier is, I want to say she's a regular now on Hoda and Jenna on the Today Show, but she is a bartender, mixologist, and her Instagram handle, her social media handle is The Drinking Coach. And she is phenomenal. And it was a really good interview, chatting with her for Women's History Month and HERStory Month. And what she does is, when she's making drinks, she's doing a lot of research on Black history as well, and the stories that she's finding on these people of color from way back when. Like, she found the very first Black female saloon owner, and she tells stories of Black history with every cocktail she makes. And she's rocking and rolling. She is a hoot to chat with. Very, very sweet. She's another person out of Atlanta. There's some great women in Atlanta. Let's see, Tiffany, Tiffani. There we go. History lessons and cocktails. And she just, listen to that interview with her, because she's phenomenal, and watch her on social media. And then if you're a Hoda and Jenna fan, you can go find her on those episodes too. But she's teaching cocktails, and so she teaches you how, and she uses a lot of fresh ingredients, and herbs and spices and things like that, but also, utilizing the basic alcoholic products that we use. But I really love how she is coaching us with drinking in a good way, with history, etc. Okay, so that rounds out 2021. Holy moly. So that was 21 women that I honored in the first 2 years of Women's HERStory Month. And then when I got to 2022, my friend Mehdi gave me my first interview, and it's his cousin Tala, and she is another person from Africa, but she is from where did it go? I don't have her on here. She is, let me find her here. 2021 Tala. She is inspiring people to think critically about where their food comes from. So she is in Accra, Ghana, in Africa, and she is helping people do raised beds and different kinds of growing in their backyards, and teaching them how to grow their own food to be more sustainable and to be healthier with what they're doing. She is the CEO of the Small Urban Farming Company. She's a senior project at a digital agricultural consulting firm, and she's a permaculturist. She supports her clients in living a more sustainable lifestyle within the city through what she terms as permaculture homestead structures. So she's helping people grow their own foods in their backyards, etc. The next interview that I had was with Sabrina Collier and her husband Greg, and I was interviewing her and Greg for Women's HERStory Month, because of they started the Bay Haven Food Wine Festival. Let me make sure I have that right. Bay Haven, yeah, Food and Wine Festival. And this, because they were going to a variety of different food and wine festivals, and they didn't see a lot of people of color. So in Charlotte, North Carolina, they started a festival that it is 100% all the culinarians there are people of color. And it is now, I think this year is going into the 4th year of the Bay Haven Food and Wine Festival. Is this fall? Or no, it will be the 3rd one. Or no, yeah, 4th one in 2024. And remarkable work that they're doing. And they've got a restaurant called Leah and Louise. And what part of their restaurant philosophy is to help where their restaurant is to grow, is to help, not to necessarily grow the restaurant, but to help grow the community around it as well. So they're really in tune to and working with the city of Charlotte to help different areas of the city prosper, and then help chefs and culinarians of color to prosper and learn the ins and outs of restaurant ownership, as well as just promoting the foods and beverages, food and culture of people of color. Because we grew up in a variety of different ways, and people of color have some different food styles that they like to eat. And so that's one of the things that they do. And they're highlighting the chefs across the country who are doing that and doing really good work. Okay, Jamie Gonzalez. She is another person who I loved chatting with, and she is out of San Antonio, and she is the let's see, the oops, yep, sorry. She provides she's the Puta de la Fruta. Sorry, got lost here a little. The Puta de la Fruta. She's using her passion and unique moniker to be a voice of strength and empowerment in industry. So she works with produce distribution, and she really is in tune to making sure that people have the food and beverage that they need on their plates. And so one of the things that they have is the Big Fresh Market Box. I think they still have that. The Big State Bodega program, which is a series of traveling produce markets that partner with organizations like the American Heart Association and Common Threads to help make sure that people have healthy foods on their plates. And she, in 2020, which was the year, 2 years after I interviewed her, or 2 years before I interviewed her, she had partnered with over 50 organizations to distribute over 3 million pounds of food. And 2020, that was the start of COVID. So it was really important. 3 million pounds of food just in San Antonio. Because she says everyone deserves to have access to the same quality foods. And she's passionate about changing the culture of how we eat by bringing meaningful experiences to the food to everyone. So really passionate and committed to making sure that everybody's got food on their plate. Elizabeth Johnson, she is a chef, another chef. She is in San Antonio as well. I had to think about where she was, but she is a chef who has a restaurant called Farm Table, and I have to find her. And it's Farm Table, PHARM, and it is using food to make us healthier. So she follows Ayurvedic practices, and in what she's cooking and what she is serving in the restaurant. And it's really I actually went there for a La Dame's d'Escoffier luncheon back in 2022, or maybe it was 2021. And oh my gosh, the food was so good. And her philosophies and how she's cooking and what she's doing is really inspiring. And I'm trying to find my different description on here. Nourishing our body through the food and beverage that we're serving. So Farm Table, PHARM Table, shares plant-forward meals that are locally sourced, globally inspired, and promote the overall better quality of life. She just does serve more than just plant-based foods at the restaurant, but it's all designed under the Ayurvedic practices so that we can eat better for our bodies. And I just realized it's 45 minutes. And so I've got a whole bunch more women. I'm going to go a little bit faster here. Amanda Thompson is the founder of Naughty, Noughty. And that is a non-alcoholic wine company. And that is Noughty. Amanda's out of the UK, and she is leading the movement towards greater transparency in wine labeling. So not only is it non-alcoholic, but it is really about making sure that we know what's in the beverages, that not just the food, but in the beverages that we're drinking. What are the ingredients in the beverages that we're drinking? So she's really pushing for that. She's a certified B Corporation certified. And that means that she's putting profit with purpose at the heart of her business. So really paying attention to that. Pilar Guerva, sorry, Pilar, I'm probably just said it wrong. She's the next person I interviewed in 2022, and she is really focused on highlighting the value of local food. And what I loved about her was that she was interviewing, what she found out was that we're losing the stories that come with the recipes that our grandmothers gave us, or our great grandmothers, or even our moms. And so really trying to connect us back to our original, those recipes that we loved, and not forgetting the traditions of where we came from, the food and beverage. So that was a really good interview. Highlighting the value of local food from a completely different perspective and just the history behind it. The Kitchenistas was number 7, and this was a group of women in San Diego that I was actually introduced to from a doctor there, and a group of women who, let's see, where did it go? Oops, sorry. Where did it go? I just had it. There we go. They're in National City, California, and it has one of the highest rates of obesity and diabetes in San Diego County and the state of California. And so these are women that are seeking healthier diets in National City, and created a 7-week nutrition program called Cooking for Salud, with the goal of empowering families to take control of their health through the foods that they eat and prepare at home. And all of these women that I interviewed went through the program and now work with the Kitchenistas and help train and take the class, give the classes, and get out into the community to share how food can help reduce diabetes and reduce obesity rates if you learn how to cook in a healthier way. Really good fun. Then the next interview in 2022 was 3 women from the New Jersey Food Tour Trail Collaboration. This is so fun. I learned that there are so many foods that originated in New Jersey, and the 3 women I interviewed, they all own their own culinary tour programs in the state of New Jersey in different parts of the state, but they've partnered together to create a whole trail that you can take from northern end of New Jersey to the southern, and learn about the different food and try different foods from those different regions of New Jersey. Who knew, right? But it was so fun. And so if you're up in New Jersey, and actually I'm going to New Jersey in April, I need to go take one of their tours and meet with them, because that was a lot of fun. But check them out. Let's see, what do I have here? I'm going to post the links later just because I'm running out of time here. But check them out. And it's the New Jersey Food Tour Trail Collaboration. The next person that I interviewed in 2022 was Eliza Tuttle, and she's works at a company is called It's on Us Corvallis. And that was all about she was combining her personal experience as food, which was growing up, volunteering with her grandmother in the local soup kitchen, studying food systems, to help the Food Action Team, the Sustainability Coalition's Food Action Team during the early days of the pandemic, that would crowdfund to buy meals from locally owned restaurants and help give those meals to anyone in need. So it was basically kind of like a food pantry, but it was taking meals at restaurants that were going to go uneaten and giving cards to people in need to go buy those meals at those restaurants at a discounted rate or free. So that program is helping the local economy by distributing gift cards to locally owned businesses, so people may not, if they can't pay the full price of the food, they can actually still get to eat at those restaurants. And then the last person in 2022 is my friend Sarah Cooney. She is the owner of Root Cellar Cafe, and as of last year, also the founder of the oh my gosh, just a food Feed Well Fridges, which is a community fridge program in Chatham County, North Carolina. And she, for one, with the restaurant Root Cellar Cafe, she sources locally. She works with a lot of chefs. And a lot of farmers and a lot of producers in the area. But she, with the Feed Well Fridges, what she has done is she has created a community fridge program, and she's got 4 refrigerators around the state, around the county, that she's making food, good quality restaurant food, and putting it in these refrigerators for anyone to take, anyone in need to take. She's won some accolades in the state of North Carolina for the work that she's done, but she is, and the goal is to reduce commercial food waste and put it in the mouths of people in need. And so working with different grocery stores, working with different restaurants, different food suppliers to utilize the food that would go to waste and making meals out of it instead. So that is the end of 2022. And then finally for 2023, my last group of women that I've honored for Women's HERStory Month, I will start with Jen Gilhoy and Kate Faulkner of the Zero Proof Collective. And they have been guests on the show twice now, and once for Women's HERStory Month, and once this year for Dry January. And they they have the Zero Proof Collective, is an organization in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that is working towards, it's partnering with drinkers who don't drink alcohol and the manufacturers of non-alcoholic adult beverages, as well as different providers, restaurateurs, hotels, bars, etc., and putting them all together so that we understand what that market is, and really promoting the financial opportunities for restaurant owners and bars and hotels to introduce and incorporate non-alcoholic adult beverages into their restaurant offerings, menu offerings. So they're both really good interviewers, a lot of fun to chat with, and I will post the links to those interviews when I'm done here. Next was Lindsay Ofasak. I'm sorry, I'm mutilating your name, Lindsay. And Lindsay is with the Lee Initiative in Louisville, Kentucky. And it is bringing to light what women in the restaurant and food and beverage industry were experiencing under the Me Too movement. And the acronym stands for Let's Empower Employment. And it's focused on offering innovative, I'm going to make sure I read this right, innovative and impactful solutions and programs when they see a need for more diverse, compassionate, and sustainable and equitable restaurant industry. So it's really working to make a difference in the lives of hundreds of next generation restaurant industry professionals, making sure that it's a viable industry to work in, it's safe, it's sustainable in the fact that you can make a living out of it, and just really impactful and powerful in what they're doing there at the Lee Initiative. So that is Lindsay from the Lee Initiative. Stephanie Tyson and Vivian Joyner. They're other friends of mine, actually here from North Carolina. They're also members of Les Dames des Escoffiers. And Stephanie and Vivian have owned a restaurant called Sweet Potatoes, a restaurant in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They just celebrated 20 years last year with the restaurant. And she has been, Chef Steph has been recognized as a James Beard nominee for the Southeast for, I think it was 2 years in a row. And their work, similar to, who was I talking about, that put their restaurant in a part of town to make sure that the town is vibrant. And that's what they did in Winston-Salem, where they grew. Their restaurant is known for to go eat. And they actually have another restaurant right next door to it as well. But they are really making sure that different parts of Winston-Salem are vibrant and bringing people into the community. Their customer relations experience in food and retail to build bridges in the community, one dish at a time. So they're very fun, and they're partners and have been together for a very long time. And so that's really a good, fun story to listen to as well. Okay. And then in 2023 was Randy Weinstein. And she is in Charleston, and she's actually been in the hospitality industry for a long time, and was director of events for the Charleston Food and Wine Festival for a number of years. And in that role, she noticed that there were fewer female chefs than there were males locally and nationally, kind of like what Sabrina and Greg did with the Black Bay Haven Food and Wine Festival, is that she wanted to create an event for women in the industry. And so that's what she's done. And the organization is called FAB, Females in Business or Food and Beverage. Either way, it's Females in Business in Food and Beverage. And so she has a 3-day educational training program for women to allow them to connect, share, and learn about the business of food and beverage. So learn how to run a restaurant, learn how to start a product, right? All these different things. So you're learning she's pulling female experts from all over the country to come in and educate other females about how to grow their businesses. Really great interview as well. And let me see if I have that one. I'll put that link up there. The next one is Tambra Ray Stevenson, and she is out of Washington, D.C. And that episode was called Reclaiming Black Food as Medicine to Ensure Health is the New Wealth. And she is another member of Les Dames. So if you haven't, there's a trend here too. There's a lot of phenomenal women who are members of Les Dames des Escoffiers. So if you're looking for some experts, go to that website and find some of them. But she was wanting to honor the ancestry within her. And she started an organization called Women Advancing Nutrition, Dietetics, and Agriculture, and acronym is WANDA, and is addressing the challenges of our current food system with sheroes and advocating for food bill rights. And she lost her grandparents in Oklahoma from diabetes, stroke, and heart disease. And so she really, like Elizabeth, wants to put the heart and the kitchenistas wants to put the food back into our system so that we can use food to make us healthier and reverse the different chronic diseases that we have. Really smart woman. Need to reach out. I'm going to DC next week. I need to go meet her in person. Great interview. Kayla King was the youngest interview last year for me. She is a force to be reckoned with in her 20s. She has a company called My Meal. She has celiac disease, and she does a lot of education on how to eat out with celiac and what the questions that she asks people, restaurants, and to make sure that the food is safe for her to eat. She shares her experiences when she's been glutened, but My Meal is also a collaboration or a collection of restaurants that she has done some training with and say, hey, they've gone through and they understand what celiac disease is. They understand how to make sure that what they're providing is safe for people with food allergies and others and celiac disease, et cetera. So check out her app it's an app on the phone, Apple and Google phones and Androids, and My Meal. And you can search for, I think it's still just in Colorado, but follow her on social media. Very vibrant, very um, rich content about eating out with celiac disease. Okay. And then the last two for 2023. One is Carla Ortiz. She is the chef owner of Bocata, and I actually found her through Nina Curtis. Thank you very much, Nina. She is a farm to table whole food plant-based chef in Puerto Rico, and she is phenomenal. The food that she's making, just looking at it, is so good. Her restaurant is in a farmer's market, and she goes downstairs and she buys all of her products from the farmers that are in the farmer's market. And then she comes up there and makes the food, and she's cooking on one stove with 4 cooktops on it, and just putting out some phenomenal plant-based vegan foods. And yeah, when I put it out there, and Nina tagged her and said, you need to interview her, the number of comments about Chef Carla was amazing. And she really wants to educate and empower others through plant-based eating. So listen to that interview. And then the final one, my interview for 2023 was 2 women, Melissa McCann and Michelle Wonder. And they started the let me make sure I get this right, started as the Women's International Beer Summit in 2020 during COVID, to connect female homebrewers to other homebrewers during the pandemic, and is now a certified 501c3 called the Women's Craft Fermentation Alliance. And I just find this fascinating. I'm like, all this fermentation of beverages, et cetera. And they have a conference that's online, and they're bringing together female experts all over the world to talk about different fermentation practices, what kind of beverages that they're doing. I know that in the interview, they said they had gotten the first female sake maker in Japan to be one of the educators, and just the community of people that they've collected through the Fermentation Alliance is amazing. And I'm intrigued and inspired by what they do. So check that one out. And again, I will put all the links up here for everybody to check them out. But I think, Women's HERStory Month, as I call it, is really important to really recognize the women that are doing really good work in food and beverage. And my themes are sustainability, inclusion, and safety. And there are so many other women that are making strides, and whether they're making a product, they're an attorney, they're creating an alliance of people with like-minded businesses and thinking, et cetera. But I hope that you got some information about these phenomenal 40 plus women that I've interviewed over the last 4 years. And then even last week. So for the one that I did last week, but check them out. The Eating at a Meeting podcast is available. All of these interviews are on the Eating at a Meeting podcast. You can check them out on your favorite podcast platform, Apple. They're actually in, what is that called? Anyways, your favorite podcast platform. Audible. That's what I was trying to think of. They're on Audible, as Eating at a Meeting is on Audible. So if you're listening to it while you're walking or driving or et cetera, I would appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. And until next time, I wish you well, stay safe, and eat well. Thanks.